Hello and good evening. Welcome to our postgraduate admissions virtual open day and to the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies. My name is Winel Gregorio, Director of our Marketing Communications Office at the campus, and I want to thank you for taking the time to hear about our postgraduate options and to have your questions answered this evening. Our session is being broadcasted live on Facebook, and we invite you to share in the chat your comments and your questions, which we will be addressing during our Q&A segment later on in the program. Feel free to share on Facebook with others who may be interested about the session this evening. Thank you again for spending your time with us and for giving us the opportunity to share more about this great West Indian tradition called UWI. As you may know, the UWI family is spread out across the Caribbean, and at this time when some of our regional colleagues are facing such trying times, we hope that you and your loved ones are remaining safe wherever you may be. So let me give you an idea of how this evening's session will run. We will have opening remarks from our campus principal, Professor Brian Copeland. Following that, you will hear a little on the importance of gaining postgraduate certification and retooling for professional development. Then we will move into an overview of the admissions process, which will include a brief look at the entry requirements and the online application process. And following the presentations, we will go straight into our Q&A segment. So joining us this afternoon to answer your questions and to engage you, we have with us members of our senior management team or the executive management team, our deputy deans and representatives from all our 8 faculties, directors and representatives from our institutes, registry heads and members of staff. We have managers of the Division of Student Services and Development, or as we call them, the DSSD, financial managers from the bursary, and other staff from around the campus. So let's get started. Firstly, let me invite the Pro Vice Chancellor and Campus Principal, Professor Brian Copeland, to share brief remarks. He will tell you why the UWI is the best choice for you, and he will share a bit more on how our campus is operating at this time. Professor Copeland, I invite you to share.
Thank you, Winel, and thank you to our virtual audience for tuning in to our postgraduate virtual open day. I am always happy to interact with our prospective students. Like most people, I do prefer face-to-face, but fortunately, the global pandemic has made virtual interaction an absolute necessity that will certainly impact on how we conduct this aspect of our business post-pandemic. Where 2020 might have been viewed as an anomaly, 2021 is telling us flat out that we are in for a long haul in what is essentially World War III. There are advantages, however, because with virtual sessions such as this, you can reach a lot more people. There's greater interaction via the chat option, and comments are also possible. And if we could not be there at the time and date, we simply can go on to Facebook or YouTube to review. Now, that being said, it is evident that we remain in crisis mode. Trinidad and Tobago is into its second year of closed borders and public health protocols. There will be no room to relax until practically all our population is vaccinated. Even as we gradually move to what we call a bricks and clicks model of teaching, the University of the West Indies will continue as it has always done to advise, educate, innovate, and teach. Here at the St. Augustine campus, we, and I'm quoting here from our UWI Charter of 1972, we provide a place of education, learning, and research of a standard required and expected of a university of the highest standard. This clause has always been at the heart of UWI, starting with the Royal Charter of its predecessor, the University College of the West Indies, a college of the University of London in 1948, and the subsequent charter that formed the current UWI in 1962. We are holding this open day session to invite you to join us in our ongoing quest of providing the Caribbean region with well-qualified citizens, strong enablers for its growth and its development. Much has been said of the UWI global reputation in the past year or so. You would know by now that the world's most reputable ranking agency the Times Higher Education has ranked the UWI among the top 600 universities in the world for 2019 and 2020, and the 40 best universities in Latin America and the Caribbean in 2018 and 2019. That ranking went up to the top 20 in 2020. Now, as important as the figures from these ranking agencies are, I never needed an international agency to tell me how great a university the UE is. As someone who graduated with a BSc in electrical engineering from this university in 1978, a long, long time ago, I can attest to the fact that even then, my UE degree was recognized by many top universities internationally. It was on the strength of this degree that I was accepted at the University of Toronto to do a Master of Applied Science in Electrical Engineering, specializing in systems control. And then at the University of Southern California, where I read for a PhD in electrical engineering in the same area. My thesis supervisors at both of these universities were recognized as global experts in their respective fields, working not just on concepts for solving the problems of the day and maybe of the future, but also working as consultants on some high-level projects, such as the Canadam for the Space Shuttle program at UFT, and for flight controls for the stealth fighters and bombers at University of Southern California. My then supervisor, in fact, was a consultant for Hughes Aerospace. I found my education at UE to be invaluable in navigating the very competitive and demanding academic environments at both universities. Indeed, at Toronto in particular, I often got questions like, where did you do your undergraduate program? A couple of staff members there even recall the name of one student who preceded me, who had accomplished himself there, someone who in fact taught me in my undergraduate years at UE. Now, I acknowledge that there were gaps in my education, but at the same time, I realized from my days at UE that a single program could never possibly provide all of the learning there is, and that it is my responsibility to recognize these gaps and to address them through self-teaching. It has been proven beyond doubt that your best possible teacher is you. To me, this represents the true value of a solid university degree. The UE that exists today has improved significantly since my days as an undergrad. It has produced many leaders, including prime ministers and leaders of industry, and well-qualified professionals that work to build and grow society over the past 40 years. At the young age of just 73 university years, we call it, we have given this region more than 237,000 graduates, including 20 heads of government and a Nobel laureate. Among our numbers are disciplined experts who will teach, guide, and inspire you, and share some of the new knowledge that make them globally respected in their fields. I make mention here of academics such as Professor John Agard, who's a recognized expert on climate change, Professor Patrick Hossain, who joined UE from Bell Labs, having amassed an unbelievable number of patents in digital communications, well over 30 at the last count, and Professor Rosemary Bell-Antoine, recognized globally as an expert in human rights, offshore finance, and labor law. Even now, our research efforts are being applied in the most obvious ways by those who will be your academic stewards, should you choose to join us. For example, just as we in the Caribbean were beginning to cautiously emerge from the shadow of COVID-19, the universe threw us a huge curveball, but it was one for which UE was prepared. Because since December 2020, when activity on La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent was first detected, the scientists from UWI's Seismic Research Center, located here at the St. Augustine campus, were deployed to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Our teams continue to monitor the seismic activity, and their updates have been critical to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines planning activation of alert levels, evacuation, and other decision-making in the emergency management process. This support will continue as we deploy experts to assist in the areas of greatest need and mobilize expertise in the rehabilitation response. 2020 was the year that the St. Augustine rose up in unison for Trinidad and Tobago and the region and joined the fight against COVID-19. Key members of our Faculty of Medical Sciences and the Institute of Gender Studies are serving on the regional COVID-19 task force, some of whom you know, some of whom you would have seen on your TV sets over the last year at the Ministry of Health's regular media briefings. Our engineers also swung into action, manufacturing key equipment and PPE, including UEvent, which is a home-based ventilator system, and partnering with the public and private sectors to make things happen. The molecular biology lab at the School of Vet Med and the PCR machines at the Department of Life Sciences here at St. Augustine were made available to the Ministry of Health. Our 100 nursing students were recruited by the Ministry of Health to conduct contact tracing, while our Center for Language Learning trained Cuban COVID-19 response nurses in English for medical purposes. 4 UE experts were later appointed to Trinidad and Tobago's National COVID-19 Recovery Task Force. UE Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez, Professor of Practice, Mr. Jerry Brooks, who is co-chair, Professor of Practice, Mr. Winston Dukaran, and Professor Emeritus, who is Director of the Center for Health Economics, Professor Carl Theodore. Beyond that, there are the devastating effects on our economy, which was already sliding prior to the pandemic, as well as our mental health as we struggle to cope with what it is. This, as I will shortly explain, is where you come in. Now, like other universities, the UE has grown in complexity and has expanded in scope. Our latest growth poll is in the area of innovation and entrepreneurship, in which we seek to nurture and grow new ideas to create impact on society through new products and processes, possibly as, for example, nuclei for new startup and spin-off companies, significant social and legal policies, techniques for preserving or restoring the ecology, and innovative medical procedures. We want you to be a part of this new and exciting UE venture, one that many agree is absolutely critical to the revitalization of the Caribbean and the survival of its people. Indeed, at the St. Augustine campus, we have, in the last couple of years, created 2 startup and spin-off companies, 2 companies, and we have 2 more in queue. We have sold 2 technology licenses and are currently processing 3 patents from students and staff. I repeat, from students and staff. Our vision is that through this bold step, we can well see that in a decade or so, the Caribbean economic landscape will be dominated by a swarm of foreign exchange earning enterprises that are led by you and your colleagues. In fact, I challenge you to be the game changers that will make this dream a reality. As one of my favorite TV programs, one of my Netflix specials, there's a star in there that says, "This is the way." Well, colleagues, this is the only way for us to survive. And this is where you come in, because we see you as game changers in a world post-COVID-19. Game changers who will begin the process of rebuilding the Caribbean economies, societies, and ecologies, targeting a sustainably developed existence. The model I've presented to my colleagues is that it's like a slingshot that is set to go off. The minute COVID stops being a serious threat to existence, we need to be ready to enter the new market spaces. But we can't wait till then to begin that task. And that task will not be an easy one. It will require skills and attributes that go beyond pure academics. You require resilience to face the difficult tasks of resuscitating our economies. You will need the moral fiber to stand up for the disadvantaged, those victims of the inequities that have been more openly exposed by the pandemic. And you also have to use that moral fiber to confront the corrupt. At UE, we will challenge you to become this robust model Caribbean citizen through programs that target the embedding of the ideal characteristics of our graduates. And I'll just quickly go through a list of those characteristics that are embedded within our strategic plan. You will be a more critical and creative thinker, an effective communicator with good interpersonal skills, IT skilled and information literate, innovative and entrepreneurial, globally aware and well-grounded in your regional identity, socially, culturally, and environmentally responsible, guided by strong ethical values. And of course, you must be very, very competent in your academic discipline of choice. We have no power, colleagues, over what the future will bring. It is, however, within our power to prepare ourselves and our communities to be self-reliant. As a student of this regional university, you become part of a select group connected by water, yes, and technology, and sharing a bond across 5 campuses within one university. We are UWI, the main unifying force of this one Caribbean. During these unprecedented times, it is an imperative to equip yourself with high quality knowledge and skills. You will at some time also need to retool as the world and technology with it are changing at warp speed. You will get all of this and more, all the preparation you need at the UWI St. Augustine campus, all the while participating in knowledge discovery and application process, even as you work towards your degree. I again urge you to join the next cohort of game changers at the UWI St. Augustine. I challenge you to uncover your excellence and develop your innovative and entrepreneurial abilities. At a time when the need for the voices of the Caribbean has never been greater, be the one to take action and begin the process of applying knowledge, old and new knowledge, to world problems. Thank you, and I hope you have a good evening session.
Thank you, Principal. And I know our viewers can probably look forward to hearing a bit more from you later on in the session. I'm sure we're going to have some questions to throw at you. And I want to thank you again for your contribution. A word you use there, retooling. I know that it's going to come up quite often, especially as we are talking about postgraduate education. So look out for hearing the nuts and bolts, viewers, of how the retooling process can take place, the programs, etc. So the fact that you're locked onto this virtual open day, viewers, is testament to that you're interested in graduate study. And I want to assure you that we are committed to the academic journey of our students and committed to producing the ideal graduate that the principal just referred to. Tertiary education is vital for producing the caliber and the diversity of graduates needed for both the economy that exists today and in the future. It fuels competitiveness and growth by preparing professionals like yourselves to shape the future. But the benefit of retooling and personal growth cannot be overlooked. And to expand on this is our Director of Graduate Studies and Research, Professor Hariharan Sitharaman, who will speak on the value of a postgraduate education, especially in the current environment. Prof. Hari, I invite you to turn your mic and your camera on and share more with our viewers this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Gregorio. I thank everyone for the opportunity to interact with our the future game changers, as our principal called. And I'm sure that you will be ready to now join the team as a game changer. In this slide, you would have seen that I have listed my postgrad and my degrees, which I don't like to do all the time. But I just wanted to tell you that I just deliberately put in my degrees only to tell you that I did my PhD in health economics as late as 2015, after I became a professor. So I feel I'm humbly qualified to talk to you about lifelong education, which I believe in. And I welcome you to UWI to start your postgraduate education. So I'm going to talk to you about the value of postgraduate education in the current environment, and also the retooling and career development. So I'm going to just touch upon an introduction, the value of postgrad education, what is happening with the COVID-19 era and beyond, how can we retool our postgrad education, how it is important for career development, and some take-home messages. And this particular New York Times snippet, news clipping, is almost 10 years old now, but you can see that even in 2011, this describes a story when somebody finished their undergrad and came back home to work in a town. I got the same job as a graduate, in the sense as with a degree holder, with the same $7.25 an hour waiter job. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that, we now actually are in a situation that the standards are increasing every year. So the expectations are increasing. And there is indeed an academic inflation. If you see this graph from 2001 to 2012, which is still 8 years behind, you can see that how taught postgrad programs and research programs are continuously increasing globally. Master's degrees are also, on the rise, and I must tell you that, even this week, day before yesterday, we did have a campus committee for graduate studies, and we did listen to 7 new postgrad master's degrees, which is going to come on board, postgrad degrees, and which we will be constantly increasing the number of master's degree, because as you know, the whole world is changing, evolving, and we need masters, and we need the specialists in individual field. So there is a phenomenal growth of master's degree throughout the world. And when you see the supply and demand, since 1980s until the 2000s, you can see that the masters, the degrees offered, the numbers have tripled. And the current rough estimate is that almost 20% of undergrads do pursue postgrad degree globally. And I think it is going up further now as we speak. But the demand is also actually, now if you see that, an employer gets a chance to employ a postgrad educated individual, they prefer this person over the one who has an undergrad degree. So the demand for specialized postgrad is also increasing in all fields, and our principal also touched upon it. So once upon a time, a bachelor's degree was sufficient for most of the jobs, but we need now a master's degree. We actually had master's degree eligible for teaching in colleges, but we need now a PhD. So even in my own field, a general doctor used to see most diseases and ailments for patients, and that currently we need specialists, subspecialists, and super specialists. So we are constantly in this process of evolution. So we need more and more post-graduation. So what is the value of post-graduation? Most postgrad degrees, require some sort of a research as a part of the training that is inbuilt into the postgrad degree. If you see the MPhil and PhD degrees, they are based on research. Even the master's degrees and the diplomas, they do have a partial fulfillment where you have, as a student, you have to do some form of research. What happens with the student, the research experience enhances the creativity, innovative skills, critical thinking, and analytical skills, and also problem solving. And so that is why a postgrad, qualified person is much critically, analytically better than an undergrad qualified person. So in a very competitive job market and career environment, post-graduation is preferred by the majority of the employers. So moving on, we are now, unfortunately, as principal pointed out, we are in middle of a pandemic, COVID-19, and we are facing economic recession. So the job market will be much more competitive now. So to have an edge over the others and to get an employment, I do feel that postgraduate education will become very paramount. So how do we retool? The buzzword today is retool. How do we retool education? It has become very necessary for us as academicians, and we need to redesign the whole paradigm at this juncture because of the pandemic and other compulsions we do face, actually. So we need to approach this retooling with addressing the infrastructure, the processes, and the outcome of teaching and learning. That is where we are now. So what do you mean by retooling the infrastructure? So the infrastructure means it's the human and material resources which are required for education. And currently we know that we have moved to online and blended. Face-to-face is becoming lesser. And then, lectures and laboratory practical work are being, we are trying innovative ways of how we can do it virtually. And we record webinars for students to actually listen to the webinars and at their own ease. They can just, they don't need to come and sit on a class 2 to 3 and so on and so forth. I mean, it has its own value in certain fields, but, we are trying to see how these different types of retooling can help. And then we can have recorded lectures, can have podcasts, so on and so forth. And live sessions are also important in certain fields, as I told you, especially in medical education. I read a very interesting article in the Times Higher Education, the newsletter. There was an argument that the end of traditional university teaching, as to go to a class, sit and listen to a lecture, we come to an end to it. I humbly beg to differ with that. We still have a role for it, but actually we will not have the same intensity what we had in the pre-COVID era. So what are we doing with the processes of postgrad education? Our applications, admissions, everything is now online. We have digitized most of our processes. All the processes involving research, teaching, learning, majority of them, application process, research ethics application, scholarship application, funding, everything is online. And we are even looking at how we can have research supervision online, assessments and examination processes for postgrad education, which are now, we are actually every semester we are having alternate assessments, innovative ways of actually assessing and evaluating the students at the end of the postgrad education. And what do we look as outcomes for the students? What do we really expect out of a postgrad student, and how can we assess it? So we do have the formative assessments. We expect the students to do coursework, which is being formative throughout your education. We have final exams, summative exams, which is actually coming down in the COVID era, but still we do have some sort of a mix of these two. And what we are actually asking the program coordinators to evaluate if this particular postgrad education satisfies the requirement of the community, of the society, and the world of work. And that is how we have to evaluate, rather than, heuristic, you just by heart an answer and go and write it. And that is not the right way to evaluate at this point of time. Okay, so for career development, you have to choose a postgrad degree, but it depends on many factors: your undergraduate degree, your alignment of interest, where you want to take your specialization and your career pathway, and also the need in this society, especially if you can see professional schools like medical school. You must see that if there is a need in this society, so that will also guide you towards taking the particular postgrad program. And you can evaluate the avenues for further progress, employability and remuneration. All these things will actually guide you in selecting the postgrad program. So the progress of a society depends on a postgrad education and the research associated with the postgrad education. I attend scientific conferences every year, including last year I had virtual conferences, and I must say that more than 3/4 of the papers presented in most scientific conferences are all student research, MPhil, PhD, and master students. And it's so important that you must know that you contribute so much to the society, to the progress of the society, by doing research. So landmark research, inventions, innovations, and in every academic field, not only in sciences but also in humanities, that is the hallmark of the progressive society. And who actually enhances it, who enables it, is the postgrad students. So to end my short talk, the take-home message is that the postgrad education is increasingly becoming important for career as well as your progress. Choose the right program suited for you, and at Graduate Studies and Research, we are always willing to guide you. You can always contact us by email, by telephones, by chat box. There's so many ways nowadays to contact us. And if you have, further details you need, nitty-gritty details about the specific program, the faculty deputy deans, the faculty graduate studies office is also here to help you. And we have much more open days coming up for that purpose for individual faculty. So welcome to University Postgrad Graduate School, and we welcome you, and we want you to be a game changer, as the principal put it. And thank you for listening to me. And don't go by these type of things that, this is a cartoon which says 6 years of university followed by 14 years of postgrad. So you are here for a job or a senior's discount. That is what happens, but lifelong learning is very, very important. And that is why I told you that I did my PhD in health economics as late as 2015. And so you all should be prepared for lifelong learning and enhance the university's image, your personal image, and the community's image. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Prof, for your insightful presentation and for your personal story, which I am sure you'll get questions on a bit later. We have questions coming in already, and I urge viewers who are just joining us to feel free to start taking your notes or taking the opportunity to post questions in the chat, and our staff members will collate and we will address them in just a short while. So, Prof, I'm sure that you've given our prospective graduates a lot to think about, and now we will pivot into more practical guidance on the application process, what you need to do, and to take us through this, the navigating of the form and the submission of documents, etc. I want you to welcome our student administrative assistant, Ms. Chanel Barb, who will give you the nuts and bolts. Ms. Barb? I don't believe that we are hearing you, so check your mic for me, please. We're seeing you fine, but we're not hearing you at all.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Principal and Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Brian Copeland. Let me just begin sharing my screen. I'm sorry about that. Good evening, everyone, once again. Good evening, Principal and Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Brian Copeland, Director, School for Graduate Studies and Research, Professor Harry Haran Sitaraman, and all attendees joining us live on our various platforms. A special good evening to all our prospective postgraduate students who are thinking of joining the University of the West Indies to commence your postgraduate studies. I am Chanel Barb, Student Administration Assistant, Office of Graduate Studies and Research. Today, we'll be looking at the different types of programs we offer, the levels at which they are offered, the entry requirements, and the application process. Let's jump right into it. So, we'll look at the various program levels that are being offered. We have postgraduate diplomas. Postgraduate diplomas have a duration of 1 year and consist mainly of taught courses. Postmaster's programs have a duration of normally 2 years and carry a research paper or research project components. We also have research programs, namely Master of Philosophy degrees, also known as MPhil degrees, and a Doctor of Philosophy degree, also known as a PhD degree. The Master of Philosophy degree can run from 3 to 5 years, and the Doctor of Philosophy degree can run from 5 to 7 years. The duration of the program really depends on if you are registered as a full-time or a part-time student. Professional doctorates are programs such as the PhD in Business Administration, which comes out of the Faculty of Social Sciences in the Department of Management Studies. These require 2 years of taught courses and 2 to 3 years of conducting research and writing a dissertation. Persons applying for research programs such as MPhil, PhD, or professional doctorates must submit a research proposal along with their application. This will outline the area of research, and if the research proposal is not submitted, your application will be considered as incomplete and your application simply will not be processed. I will now speak a little about the difference between full-time and part-time study. Some programs are offered full-time only, some programs are offered part-time only, and some are offered both full-time and part-time. A full-time course load carries more credits than a part-time course load. This is the real difference between full-time and part-time study. It really does not have anything to do with whether the program is offered in the day or on evenings. Postgraduate programs, however, tend to be offered in the evenings to accommodate persons who are working, since there is a recognition that the majority of postgraduate students are working individuals and they may not get time off from work to attend classes during the day. The UWI offers programs across 8 major faculties, namely the faculties of engineering, science and technology, law, food and agriculture, medical sciences, humanities and education, social sciences, and our newest faculty is the Faculty of Sport. We also have 3 institutes. We have the Institute of Gender and Development Studies, the Institute of International Relations, and the Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Studies. These institutes offer mainly degrees, MPhils, and PhDs, but they do offer a few taught master's programs as well. We also have a seismic research unit, which offers MPhil and PhD degrees in seismology and volcanology. With all the volcanic activity taking place in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the moment, I am sure that this unit will pique a level of interest in some of you. One of the reasons we are the #1 university in the Caribbean is due to our wide range of program and study options. Faculties were asked to identify programs among their offerings that could be considered their flagship programs. In these slides, I attempted to highlight some of these programs. And although I mainly included taught master's programs, there are some postgraduate diplomas available as well. Know that these are not the only programs available by these faculties, but just a small taste to give you an idea of what is being offered. I will now point some of these out to you. But I would also encourage you to attend the virtual sessions for each faculty that will be streamed over the next few days. Those sessions will give you a better idea of the particulars into the program you may be interested in. Now, for the Faculty of Engineering, we have programs such as the Master of Applied Science degree in Electrical and Computer Engineering, and Master of Science degrees in Construction Management, Geoinformatics, and Engineering Management. For the Faculty of Food and Agriculture, we have MSc degrees in Agri-Food Safety and Quality Assurance, MSc degree in Agricultural Economics, and the MSc degree in Tropical Crop Protection. We also have MPhil and PhD degrees in areas such as human ecology, soil science, and livestock science. In the Faculty of Humanities and Education, we have programs such as the MA in Creative Design Entrepreneurship, the MFA in Creative Writing, and I actually really enjoy reading some of the manuscripts that come out of this program. And we have MPhil and PhD degrees in areas such as history, cultural studies, and literature in English. Under the School of Education, we also have programs such as the DipEd program and the MEd, which is the Master of Health Promotion program. In the Faculty of Science and Technology, we offer MSc degrees in areas such as biomedical physics, biotechnology, data science, occupational and environmental safety and health, renewable energy, technology. For the Faculty of Social Sciences, we also have MSc degrees in strategic leadership and innovation, criminology and criminal justice, applied psychology, and development statistics. We also have MPhil and PhD degrees in those areas. Under the Faculty of Medical Sciences, we offer MSc degrees in advanced nursing and medical microbiology. And we also offer DM or Doctor of Medicine degrees in areas such as internal medicine, radiology, and surgery. For the Faculty of Law, we offer the Postgraduate Diploma and Master of Laws in Corporate and Commercial Law, Public Law, Intellectual Property Law, and Legislative Drafting. And in our newest faculty, the Faculty of Sports, we offer a Diploma in Sports Management through the Mona campus. It should be noted that this course is an online course. In terms of admission in terms of qualifications for admission, I will now discuss the general qualifications for admission into one of our graduate programs. Once you are a graduate of the University of the West Indies, or you are in possession of a degree from another approved university, or you hold other qualifications or experience as approved by the Board for Graduate Studies and Research, you are eligible to apply for admission to a graduate program. I will now discuss the minimum entry requirements for the various program levels. The entry requirements specific to graduate certificates, diplomas, short master's degrees, and DM degrees is a minimum GPA of 2.5 or a lower second-class honors degree or its equivalent. For MPhil degrees, you must possess a minimum GPA of 3.0 or an upper second-class honors degree or its equivalent. If you do not have a minimum GPA of 3.0, you can also gain entry into an MPhil degree if you obtain a master's degree. For professional doctorates, you must have a taught master's degree in an appropriate field from UWI or from another university. You must also have attained at least a B+ average or equivalent in this degree. You must also possess the relevant work experience in the particular field that you are interested in. For PhD degrees, specifically, you must have in possession a master's degree, which was awarded primarily for either research or it must have included a research component. You can also gain entry to a PhD degree through an upgrade in your registration from an MPhil program. I encourage you to visit our postgraduate admissions page, which can be accessed through our UWI St. Augustine website. Here, you can view information such as available programs, financial information, and detailed instructions on how to submit an application. It should be noted that you can only apply for one postgraduate program. If more than one application is submitted by you, you will be contacted and we will find out from you and we would ask you what is your real program of preference. And only that application will be processed. The deadline dates for all applications for the 2021-2022 academic year is July the 31st, 2021. There are a few exceptions. The DM in Radiology has a closing date of May the 15th, and the Master of Tertiary Education in Leadership and Institutional Effectiveness, also called the MTED program, has a closing date of May the 31st. Applications are accepted year-round for MPhil and PhD degrees. This year, we are accepting applications for both Semester 1 and Semester 2 of the 2021-2022 academic year simultaneously. This means if you are interested in commencing your studies in September 2021 or January 2022, the July 31st deadline will apply. You may visit our website for a complete list of programs offered for those periods. Once you have visited our website, you have viewed our content, and you are now sure of your program of choice, you can then proceed to complete your online application. You receive a confirmation receipt at the end of the online application, which must be downloaded and saved in PDF format. An application processing fee is also required, and this must also be saved in PDF format. Once you have completed your online application, and you have paid your application processing fee, the next step would be uploading your documents via a platform called eCourier. eCourier will be discussed in the next slide. But before proceeding to upload your documents, you must view our list of required documents that's located on our website and have these documents at hand. Like many other sectors, the university has adopted a contactless application process. The process is fully online to ensure the safety of our staff and our prospective students. Once your online application is complete, you will be directed to a page that has an upload documents link. Once you click this link, it will take you to our eCourier page. This page will look something similar to an email. Here, you will be given the opportunity to upload all of your documents. Save the documents under the appropriate names before beginning the upload process. For example, the confirmation receipt should be saved under the name confirmation receipt and not as a number or an ambiguous name, which sometimes comes up during the scanning process. Please also ensure that the description line is in the appropriate format before finalizing the process. The description line, it looks something similar to the subject line of an email. It should have your student ID if you're a past UWI student, or a web ID if you're not a past UWI student. It should also have your name and your program of intent. An example of this is placed on the screen. Referees reports must be emailed directly to pgonline@sta.uwe.edu. Outstanding documents may also be forwarded to pgonline@sta.uwe.edu, or it can also be uploaded via our eCourier platform. Once you have uploaded your application, all of your application documents, you can now track your application using the track application link on our website. You can also chat with us live from Mondays to Fridays between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Once a decision is made on your application, you will be advised via email. If you are accepted, you may be offered a place as a qualifying student. This means you will be required to complete a year of qualifying courses before you can be granted firm admission into the program. You may also be granted an offer as a provisional candidate. This if you have not yet completed another degree, such as a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. Once you have completed and have been awarded your degree, you will be given a firm acceptance. A firm acceptance means that there is nothing obstructing you from commencing your studies once the semester begins. Once you have been given a firm acceptance, you can accept the offer. You can reject the offer, hopefully not reject, or you can also defer your offer. The deferral of the offer means that you are unable to begin your studies at the given point in time, and you're requesting to start at a later date. If you would like to defer your offer, we ask that you request this in writing immediately or as soon as possible. You may also keep checking You can also keep checking online for registration information. I have attempted to cover as much information as possible during the time period that I have been allotted. The floor will be open soon for questions, so thank you for listening, and I will now hand you back over to the host. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vab, for your very practical, very detailed, very informative presentation. I see we have quite a few questions about the process, and I'm sure it's because we have persons joining us at different points in the session. So we will be repeating some of the information about the application process, about the programs, and about the details of application dates, etc. Now, in the lead up to today's session, we started receiving some of your questions and your concerns via our online portals. But before we get into the Q&A segment, I would like to share some general information on some of the topics that you have raised. Access to the campus. At this time, to the physical campus, access is still restricted in keeping with the national COVID-19 guidelines. Some students have been allowed access in order for the completion of some of the components of their programs like labs and other practicals. However, to the general student population, access to the campus is still restricted. To our prospective students, there is no need for you to come on the campus physically to complete your applications, as all the resources that you need are available online, and you would have just heard about the process. In terms of the delivery of classes, until we are guided otherwise by the government, classes will continue to be conducted virtually. But as mentioned above, special permissions have been granted to students requiring access to the campus. In terms of our program offerings, a full list that are being offered by our 8 faculties can be found in the faculty booklet. We will share some of the links in the chat very soon, and you'll hear more about it as the session continues. So now we're moving into the question and answer segment, and this is the really interactive part of the evening. You've been listening to us, you've heard from the principal, you've heard from the head of graduate studies, you've heard from our colleague in grad studies in terms of the nuts and bolts. And now we can start to answer the questions and share some more insight on the specific needs of you, our prospects. So while I change my screens to get the questions, we can start, and colleagues on the panel, some of it may seem repetitive, but it's because we have persons joining at various points in the session. The first question we have is about the requirements to enter. I have already a first degree, so I can't access GATE. Are there other options to access funding for my degree? So let me repeat, I already have a first degree. I cannot access GATE. Are there other options to access funding for my degree? I invite one of my colleagues from the bursary to answer the question. I know we have 2 members on the call, on the session, I should say rather.
Hi, Winell.
Hi, Kevin. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having
While
me.
we have you here, I know we will have quite a few questions in your area. So talk generally about, and probably answer the GATE question, but talk generally in your area. And I can't promise that I won't call on you again.
No problem, Winell, not a problem at all. So the question about the cost of the program, let's start with that. I'll delve into GATE. Sorry about this. Welcome everybody to our prospective graduate studies students and colleagues. So I'll start with the cost factor first. We then look at GATE, and I'll then share with you all some information about fees and so on. So the tuition fees for a graduate studies program will depend on the type of program that it is. Some programs are what we call government sponsored, and some programs are what we call self-financing. The government sponsored programs tend to carry fees that are a lot lower than a self-financed program. And you could probably figure that out with the name of these 2 types of programs. Self-financed programs, essentially the student will have to cover the full cost of the program. And as such, the fees will be a lot higher for the student. And government-sponsored programs, you find that the fees are somewhat sponsored by the government, and as such, the student will be required to cover a lower portion of those fees. So the fees for a government-sponsored program would be a lot less than the fee for a self-financing program. These fees you can all find in the fee booklet. I'm sure we'll be able to share the fee booklet with our prospective students, and it's on our website as well. And in there, you'll find all the details about what the cost of those programs will be. In addition to your tuition fees, you will have, small amounts of compulsory fees to pay as well. Again, the details of those are in the fee booklet. As it pertains to GATE, unfortunately, GATE funding has been discontinued for graduate studies programs. So students will be required to cover the cost of their tuition fees and their fees themselves. We do have scholarships and bursaries, and I know we have several persons on the call that can give us details of scholarships and bursaries that are available to graduate studies programs. We also can provide assistance or advice in terms of loans that you could acquire from major banking institutions. But these banking institutions already, you can approach them on your own accord, requesting loans to cover your tuition fees and so on. I think that basically is generally some general points there on tuition fees and costing and GATE and so on. The fee booklets I spoke about, again, we can share that with our prospective students on the chat as well. So if there's anything else, Winell, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much. And as you said, I'm asking colleagues to place the fee booklet in the chat so we can give our viewers some more information. As you mentioned, our colleague from the DSSD, Ms. Christy Smith, I want to call on her next because we do have some questions about scholarships. So if you can share with us generally about scholarships for postgraduate studies, I invite you to come to the virtual podium.
Good afternoon, Winell, and apologies in advance for not putting up my video at this time. And thank you again for having the DSSD on this platform. I would want to defer the topic of postgraduate scholarship and bursary opportunities to my colleague in the postgrad section, Ms. Kalu or perhaps Professor Harry, who would be able to speak more directly to the options for this grouping.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah,
I would like Sarah Kalu to she has joined us, so she has much more information, specific information. In general, I wanted to say that we do have scholarship funds from Graduate Studies Office, which is which is across the faculties, all 8 faculties. The scholarships are unfortunately currently restricted to the research degrees, which are MPhil and PhD. We don't have specific scholarships for master's degree yet. There are some specific degrees where you can get scholarship. MPhil and PhD, most faculties, they can apply for one. We do have a robust scoring system to select the candidates and fund them for their research degrees. So I will yield to now Sarah to talk about the scholarships as well as the special scholarships like what we got named scholarships such as Elsa Guvia, and we have a Petrotrain and so on and so forth. So I'm yielding to Mrs. Kalu to give some more details about scholarships.
thank you. And as she opens her mic, I want to say that specifically we have questions about the process, but about the time frame specifically about when persons can hear if they are successful in the award of a scholarship or bursary.
Good afternoon all, and Ms. Gregorio, can I share my screen with a small presentation?
Sure, you can proceed.
So good afternoon again. Today I just present a short presentation on postgrad scholarships and funding. And the reason I'm including research funding is because, yes, we are dealing with prospective graduate students, but very soon, 1 year will pass. And students will now need information on what's going to happen from year 2 and above. So let me go to the second slide, and the overview of the presentation will focus on research degrees, externally funded scholarships and bursaries, and student research funding. So our first sets of scholarships will focus specifically on research scholarships. And at the St. Augustine campus, we have 3 scholarships in particular that, that we offer that are fully research degree or scholarships. Each of the scholarships are worth $60,000 for the academic year.
Ms. Kalu, I want you to just—
Are you hearing me?
I am hearing you, but if you could place your presentation on full screen for the benefit of the viewers, please.
Full screen?
Great. Thank you.
Great, wonderful. So the scholarships that's mentioned above, they are only tenable at the St. Augustine campus. It's awarded for 1 year in the first instance. And the reason for this is that at this point, we like to look at the performance of the student before we award funding and scholarship for the second academic year. To do this, students have to submit their progress and emolument forms, and it's evaluated by the committee before the funding is awarded for a second year. Students who are PhD students or students who have upgraded can be awarded a third year of scholarship. And again, this is also based on academic research performance evaluated by that progress and emolument forms. But just to go a little bit further, for an academic year, a student is disbursed funds 4 times per year. Each quarter, the student can receive $15,000 via these particular forms. If a student is not progressing well, the scholarship we can actually stop the scholarship. And I go further to explain who can apply for research scholarships. We have all categories of students, from undergraduate students, new postgraduate incoming students, returning and continuing students, and all these students, there are different time periods that they need to ensure that they apply for the scholarship. For research degree scholarships, there are 3 categories in which the student becomes eligible. You must have a first or upper second class honors. You can have a lower second class degree and a taught master's degree. And within the last academic year, certain things have slightly changed to incorporate a lower second class honors degree with at least 3 high quality peer reviewed publications. That last category tends to focus on existing MPhil PhD students and how they have performed up to this point since they've started their research degree. Now, in this slide, I have included our scholarship regulations because it completely explains every aspect of these particular scholarships from start to finish, including how disbursement happens. The scholarship application process, I've done a document checklist. The first point is the scholarship application form, and within this online platform, the student can upload all the 4 other documents highlighted on the screen. They can upload all the documents. No document should come in hard copy because everything is uploadable within this particular platform. Due to the new digitization thrust of the campus, we have been able to create this online platform. It's very, very similar to the ethics platform. It's very, very similar to the new staff campus research and publication fund application form as well. So all of these things are on a similar platform. So we, apart from having all those other platforms, we have now included this particular one to incorporate, to help students. We also have externally funded local, regional, internationally sponsored bursaries and scholarships. The Delaware Scholarship is the most long-standing scholarship that we have, and it's offered by the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. As you're seeing there, it's a US of $8,500. And this particular scholarship carries with it an interview process and also an internship process. It's a 2-month internship with the Central Bank. It's one of the, again, the most prestigious scholarship that we have. The second category, refers to the National Gas Company, and the newest is a UWI Global Giving Bursary offered by our alumni office. And just a flag, today is the closing date for the UWI Global Giving Bursary. And I'm really encouraging applicants who are viewing at this present time to have a look at it. The details are listed on the website, and a little bit lower down on this presentation, I'm going to be referring to where you can actually locate all of this information that I'm speaking about. The Camel Bracket bursary that you're seeing there, that's approximately $10,000. It is very department and program specific. This bursary is worth $10,000. I have 2 more bursaries coming on from the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries, and it's coming out of the Department of Chemical Engineering for all the MSc Petroleum Engineering programs. The Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility Scholarship. This one is specific to the Faculty of Engineering and the Faculty of Science and Technology. But this particular sponsor identifies the particular program in which they want the students to apply. So this particular slide, I just want to flag information on where students can find all the scholarship information and exactly how we disseminate information across the campus and the university. So we heavily rely on marketing and to advertise to all student emails via the campus community and to social media. We upload information on our scholarship website, but the department specific program that I mentioned earlier, which is the Camel Bracket bursary, we actually send this information specifically to the faculties and departments so that they can also forward to their students in their respective programs, as well as to advertise to new incoming students on their websites. So at this particular point, that is pretty much the scholarships and bursaries section. I'm sorry that I'm going this fast because I know we want to get onto the questions and answer section, but I want to move quickly into the Campus Research and Publications Fund section and indicate that this category of funding is open to MPhil and PhD students who are in year 2 and above, and they must be registered full-time or part-time students. Applications are invited 2 months in advance of the use of the funds. Previously, we had meetings once per semester and that sort of thing, but now we've changed it up to accommodate students as much as possible. To go further, I have categorized all the grants in a synopsis, but much more detail is located on the website for these particular grants. So we have conference grants, training grants, grants that will assist with the publication of book chapters and articles, and also grants that deals with a student's fieldwork. Doesn't matter what faculty that student is in. Once you're an MPhil PhD student, funding is available to undertake your research. Each application, student application, has to be signed by the Deputy Deans of Graduate Studies, and I've just listed the names just to ensure that students are familiar with who these persons are. I wanted to include some information on where to find the information on the website, but I'm not seeing that it's coming up on my slide. But I've put up this particular slide to ask anyone to please email me, and I would forward the information as best as I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the detailed sharing, and the further details will be placed in the chat. Viewers can access it there. I want to go now to the campus principal. We received this question last evening from our viewers for the undergraduate session. And the same question is up again in terms of programs in innovation and entrepreneurship at the University of the West Indies. Principal, if you can share with our viewers.
Okay. Hi, I had to put back on my uniform to answer that question. So with respect to programs in innovation entrepreneurship, there are two broad categories. One is that faculties have, as they're motivated by the mandate that has been given, they've mounted their various entrepreneurship programs. I know, for example, Faculty of Agriculture is one of those that does it. Within the Faculty of Social Sciences, there is a unit called the EU, the Economics Unit, and I'm thinking that the representative could expand on that here today. But they are for hands-on type of engagement with respect to building businesses and all that. And they are part of a bigger initiative called the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Ecosystem that establishes what we call a pipeline that will transport ideas that are generated by students and staff and the faculties and different academic units, move them, develop them, shape them for eventual commercial activity out in the real world. So the pipeline consists of the faculty, that's the head of it, the root of it. And then that moves into units such as the entrepreneurship unit at the Faculty of Social Sciences. And in parallel with that, there is the St. Augustine Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, or STACY is called for short, that helps provide funding for projects as they're being developed, helps with intellectual property protection and the like, helps in between them and the economic unit. They help shape business plans. When projects are mature enough, they are, the term we use is tossed over the wall, because there's a company out there that we formed, a subsidiary, a holding company called UWI Ventures, that then takes these projects and tries to hook those projects up with investors. It will have to be a sales pitch made to that to the people who are there at UWI Ventures before the investment is moved forward. So it's sort of like a Shark Tank sort of environment. It is brand new, so it is now being developed. They have also created a website. You can go on the website for, just check UWI Ventures, just Google it and it will come up. And there is a portal that allows you, if you have an idea, you can register on it. And right there, they will hook you up with potential investors, mentors, and so on, who will help with the process of moving the project forward. So it's two dimensions. One is an on-the-ground engagement, because you're really serious about getting businesses started. And whilst the classwork, the taught courses are very important, the on-the-ground work actually is one that gets us going very, very quickly in a meaningful and impactful way. We have a lot of people from the private sector who are very interested. UWI Ventures itself, the chairman of its board, executive chairman, is Mr. Jerry Brooks, who led in National Gas Corp not too long ago. But apart from that, we have the teaching that takes place in faculty in different ways. Sometimes there are courses within bigger programs, one or two programs as well. So it's a matter of just checking the website and you'll be able to pick that up. It does change depending on the faculty, but you can pick up that information. But we're most interested in you, if you have an idea for starting up a company based on some concept that you delivered, we are developing or have developed in its early stages, the mechanism for you to move those ideas along. Right? I think that covers it well.
Thank you, Principal. And I remind persons to get more information on UWI Ventures website, which can be shared as well in the chat. I asked my colleague to share it in the chat. Prof. Harry, I call on you next. I have quite a few questions for you. So take a deep breath. I have a mouthful to start with. Are you with us at this time, Prof. Harry?
Yes, I am.
Great. And this person is asking, I'm in the process of deciding the program I want to pursue. Does my postgraduate degree have to be related to my undergraduate degree? And how do I navigate through making this decision? That's the first question. So let me allow you to answer that before I flood you with others.
Okay, different faculties have different requirements. The general tendency is that, you must have at least some courses offered in your undergrad degree related to the postgrad degree you want to pursue. And especially if it is MPhil, and I did see the question that what is the difference between an MPhil and an MSc. A taught master's program is usually 1.5 to 2 years duration, which has taught courses and a partial fulfillment of a research, which is not, and the degree is not offered on the basis of research alone. Research is considered as another course. So there will be a lot of taught courses. So those type of master's degree, if you had a couple of courses in your undergrad degree, which were related, and the discretion of the program coordinator and the department, they can accommodate you. Not necessarily that you must exactly follow verbatim the same thing. Like, for example, you would have done an engineering degree in one particular field, and you want to do an engineering management, you can go in and something like that, but you have to have a related at least some courses, and it is purely based on the discretion of the program coordinator. And once you apply with the required documents and the evidence that you have had some exposure to that, or at least some interest, and if it is a research degree like MPhil or a PhD, you are supposed to write. I mean, you're supposed to engage with the particular supervisor and the faculty you want to pursue that degree, and engage in a discussion and write a short essay as to what you think you are going to do as a research, and that will be taken up. And so those are for the MPhil and the PhD, and for masters and diploma and so on and so forth, you can apply something related to what you did undergrad. And it depends on the individual faculty. There are some faculties, especially management and social sciences, they may relax a bit. You may have a different degree in the undergrad, and they will accommodate you for a postgrad degree in social sciences. And I am a standing example again. I did a PhD in health economics, even though my master's and my basic degree is in medicine.
Thanks, Prof. Don't leave us just yet. We got some earlier questions about around the PhD in terms of the proposal, the process for writing the proposal, taking us through what happens and all its steps in terms of applying and where the proposal comes into place, and then the mode of the proposal, if it has to be done and submitted in PDF format. So if you could share everything around the proposal.
Yes. A research proposal is very, very important for research-based degrees, because we are now actually offering this degree purely based on somebody's research, which you have to be very innovative and novel, and has not been touched upon in the previously by. I mean, it can be like it cannot be a repeat research. It can be in a field where somebody has done a research, but you can do it in the Caribbean setting, in the Trinidad setting, and so on and so forth. But the research proposal is extremely important, and that is why for research-based degrees, the MPhils and PhD, what we encourage the students to directly be in touch with the exact faculty member, or if, for example, if you want to do one in economics or in health economics, we want the student to actually correspond with the health economics unit, and then engage with the prospective supervisor, and tell them that this is what I have in mind. I want to do this particular topic as a research. I want to do the cost effectiveness of a particular hemodialysis, or so on and so forth. And then they will tell you that, okay, this particular research is new. Nobody has attempted it. So you just now engage the supervisor, the prospective supervisor, and write a basic proposal as to what is your objective of the research, what is the proposed methodology of your research, and they will guide you, the supervisor will guide you, we will guide you, and you can just write a short proposal, and then interact with the supervisor, and then convert into a PDF, and then submit it along with your MPhil PhD application. Did that answer your question?
Yes, yes, it did answer the question. Very clear. Thank you so much.
No problem. Any more?
We do have more. I'll call on you again.
Sure, thank you.
I'll call on you again. Thank you. And I asked our campus registrar to get ready. I want to really give our viewers, our prospects, their chance to answer the questions that they've asked. So I really want to share it around campus registrar. We have questions around the campus and its operations in light of COVID-19 and how it would affect persons' completion, schedule, etc. What is the campus doing in terms of September 2021? Should someone begin a master's program in light of what's happening with COVID? So all the questions around campus operations, COVID-19, and the preparedness for that mode of delivery. Registrar?
Thank you, Mrs. Gregorio. Well, it's anticipated, given the current environment that we're in, that by and large, we're going to be operating mainly within the online environment, even as we approach September. The mode of delivery is going to be largely the same as it is right now. There will be instances, as was done with exceptions, as was done before, with respect to some programs that have embedded in it lab work or field work. And so the intention is as well to pay attention to what is happening in the country in terms of the guidelines we get even from the government with respect to reopening and face-to-face interaction. And that by and large what will be guiding our decisions in terms of the operations of the campus. What are the other questions, Mrs. Gregorio?
About it affecting completion rates, about the operations. Should I start a master's degree in the current environment?
I think certainly students should consider starting a degree. I mean, I'm not like Professor Harry, I'm a lifelong learner. I think it's important to constantly think about your future-proof, try to do some sort of future-proofing, retooling. And the campus is cognizant of some of the smaller, the modular approaches to doing this type of retooling, and we're thinking even along those lines as well. Certainly, it is an opportune moment to do that kind of enhancement in terms of your degrees. In terms of, especially when you try to figure out what post-COVID Trinidad and post-COVID Caribbean and even post-COVID international is going to look like, and where you're going to fit in. I think it's very important to look at the offerings and see what you need to do to show yourself up. I certainly will encourage anyone to look at pursuing postgraduate education at this point in time. And at the campus, what we are doing at the university-wide system actually is that we are very much aware of the challenges that students will be facing. And we have put things in place through the Division of Student Services, through some of the other scaffolding services that we offer to help students, to shepherd students through their program. And that is always our intention.
Thank you, Registrar, for those reassurances. And Thank you for clarifying on the issue of the system of delivery in September 2021. I now ask my colleague from the Faculty of Law, Dr. Justin Koo, to ready himself. We do have questions about the Faculty of Law and pursuing, if pursuing a PhD in law is possible with a MSc in criminology and criminal justice.
Hi, thanks, Mrs. Gregorio. Good question. It would largely depend on whether you can demonstrate to us the skill set to pursue the requisites to pursue the PhD in law. So you'd have to demonstrate to us that you have the skill set. And where you demonstrate the skill set would largely come in your PhD proposal that was mentioned earlier. So this is really the critical part of the application. You have to demonstrate that you have the credentials, so you have a master's, you have the undergrad, that sort of thing. But the proposal is really what is going to set you apart from competitors. It's really what is going to wow your potential supervisor. So as mentioned earlier, you really have to identify a potential supervisor. So whether it's one of us at St. Augustine campus, the lovely thing about being one UE, especially in relation to the faculties of law across the different campuses, the three campuses, Caver, Mona, and St. Augustine, you are allowed joint supervision. So you can get a supervisor or joint supervision between colleagues among the three campuses. So this is not unusual at the Faculty of Law. But you really do have to work on the proposal. The proposal, as I said before, has to include or demonstrate that you are capable of pursuing studies in law, because it is going to be slightly different. The expectation is going to have to be doctrinal study, yes, but doctrinal study of not just existing literature, but also existing laws, which is slightly different to doing your traditional research outside the scope of law school, for example. But having said that, I don't see a major inhibiting factor in applying to do a PhD in law if you have that master's in criminology, etc. But you'd really have to demonstrate that the topic that you're working on falls more squarely in the realm of the Faculty of Law, as opposed to, I guess, the Faculty of Social Sciences or whatever program you would have come from in the master's. So I hope that answers the question.
It does. Thank you very much. And Prof. Harry, I call on you again as I promised I would.
Sure.
Prof. Harry, we have quite a few questions about the PhD, and I go back to the proposal. So maybe this is a person who is just joining us. The length of the proposal and the PhD in general, how long, I know we covered it before, but how long does it take? So maybe if you can give an overview about the PhD process, the proposal writing process, the application submission, and then the journey of the PhD in general.
Okay. You know, as Ms. Bab told us, the MPhil PhD applications are accepted throughout the year. So they don't need to wait on a deadline. They don't need to say that, oh, the deadline passed, I can't apply, nothing like that. So when you want to do a MPhil or a PhD, MPhil is also a research-based degree, but it's not a taught degree as against a master's. Master's has a lot of taught components. That means you receive lectures in didactic forms, and you may have some lab sessions or practical sessions, and then you have some either a research project or a capstone as a partial fulfillment. That is a master's. But MPhil is purely based on a thesis as a research thesis. Now, MPhil is a little at a lower strata than the PhD. PhD, you must have really breakthrough type of a research, a hallmark paradigm changing type of a research. So you must have a MPhil or a master's before you take up the PhD. Now, MPhil, you can work on the particular research proposal you have, and then you again, as we all again repeatedly saying that we approach the faculty and your potential supervisor, interact with him or her, and say that, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. So, and then you write the proposal, as I correctly said, as I told earlier, objective of the research, the methodology of your research, what expectations of the outcomes you want to, and it has to now, as Justin said, it has to fall on the particular faculty's orientation and focus, and it should not cross over faculty. So that is very, very, very important. And once you do that particular proposal and submit all the credentials to us, we, as I told you, in Office of Graduate Studies and Research, we have a separate team dealing with the applications of MPhil, PhD. So we get that in e-courier, we immediately transfer it to the faculty, and because the student would have already engaged with the faculty, so the faculty supervisor would have seen the overall thing, and some faculties even want to have a short presentation of the student. That is not always there, but they go through the proposal, and when they are satisfied with the proposal, the program coordinator says yes, he or she can enter into MPhil, and the head of the department signs it. Everything is now happening electronically. So if your proposal is ready and all the credentials are ready, you can join anytime, and the time frame is very short. The time for writing the proposal to satisfy the potential supervisor and the department, that is what is going to take time. But the process of this application and getting back and getting an offer is not delayed at all. And as I told you, we have a separate section for 3 or 4 staff dealing with the MPhil, PhD, so we won't have any delays in that. So I don't think it will be a problem with the application process. The major issue is conceptualizing your research, interacting with your potential supervisor and the faculty, and bringing out the proposal to their satisfaction. That is going to take the time.
I have another question for you, Prof. Thank you for the clarification on the proposal and the journey of the PhD. The question is skills-based short courses or a postgraduate degree. What should a mid-career professional seek to do? What would be your advice?
Okay. We do have certificate courses, we do have diplomas, we do have masters. And some people even working mid-career people, like, as I told you, it's again, I am the standing example. I did a part-time PhD, right? So depending on the time you can allocate towards your postgrad education and the requirement you need. For example, some companies may say that, okay, you need a special certificate course in this particular field. Okay, for example, I told you 2 days back, we were actually discussing, they are going to introduce now OSH, a certificate course in OSH. So a person who is already in the field of OSH, occupational safety and hazard management, so they can actually, depending on the need, if they are say, okay, that, for a particular promotion or going up their ladder, a certificate course is enough, they can do the certificate course. And somebody may need a diploma course, which is a 1-year duration, or somebody may need a master's to actually go up on that ladder. So we do have, another good news is that we do have started what we call as the standalone courses, and most faculties are now coming up with many standalone courses. And if a particular person in a field want to get special training in that particular field, so they can apply as specially admitted student to that particular course alone. And we are now admitting standalone courses. The information is available in the Graduate Studies website. The standalone courses is a short course, and it's not very expensive. It's based on the course credits. You need to pay that, and then you will get a certificate at the end of the short course. So we do have even standalone courses. So it all depends on the mid-level career person, what he or she wants to achieve for their laddering up their career. Is it a certificate or a standalone course or a diploma or a master's or a PhD? So we have the wide gamut spectrum of all these things possible for our mid-level career people.
And Prof, for that sort of advising, who could persons come to? Who would you suggest they write or they contact to get that kind of one-on-one advice that you shared if they weren't able to see it?
We do have Kezia with us, Kezia Pereira. She is 8 to 4. They can chat within the Graduate Studies website. They will interact with the appropriate person dealing with, if it is standalone courses, Ms. Fanovich is actually dealing with all the list of standalone courses and how to apply and so on and so forth. And for masters, we do have Mrs. Lesama Thomas, Leslie Joseph, so many. We have teams for individual, all these areas which I talked about, and they will be always available. And if they get in from 8 to 4, they do have this chat box function. And if they get into the chat box and they ask specific information about a particular course, whether it is available as standalone, how to go about and how to apply for it, or whether we have a certificate course or a diploma course, we will be able to provide that information.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much. We now go to my colleagues in the faculties. We have a question about the MSc in Data Science. And the question is about the optional courses to be offered in the MSc in Data Science. Is it by majority of student choice, or can you do a subject with only one student? So how is the MSc in Data Science offered in terms of the optional courses? I know we have with us our Deputy Dean for Postgraduate in the faculty. Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Good evening, Dr. Clark.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yeah, the MSc in Data Science. So, well, it's an MSc. However, as Prof. Harry has just noted, mentioned that we are offering standalone courses. So from the MSc in Data Science, there are some of the courses which are offered as standalone. So you'd find these being offered. We offered some last semester, and that is how one can access these standalone courses within the MSc for Data Science. And of course, as Prof. Harry said, the grad studies would guide them with respect to how they should register as a specially admitted student. I hope that answers your question.
It does, and I wonder if you would take the opportunity as you're on the floor to share the postgraduate programs across the spectrum of the faculty.
Sure. So with respect to the MSCs, so within the faculty, within the Department of Life Sciences, we have the fully online, the only fully online MSc, that is the MSc in Biodiversity Conservation and Sustainable Development in the Caribbean. And then as you know, all of our courses had to go online, but this one was developed for online purposes. We have that, and we have also the MSc in Biotechnology. There is also in the Department of Physics, Biomedical Physics, as well as the Renewable Energy Technology, which is quite popular, as well as the Biomedical Physics, as we see. From the Department of Computing and Information Technology, there's the MSc in Computer Science and Technology, as well as Data Science. That in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, there's the MSc in Mathematics, and there's the MSc in Statistics. And also there's a very popular MSc in Occupational and Environmental Safety and Health coming out of the Department of Chemistry. So those are our MSCs. And what you'd note, as Prof. Harry mentioned, there for our continuing professionals who would want to advance themselves in the career, we are also offering standalone courses, and we are also packaging some of these courses as certificates, as Prof. Harry has mentioned. Soon to come, there will be the certificate and diploma in the occupational and environmental safety and health. And other master's programs will be following suit in offering those packages which would suit the career person wanting to advance in their professional career. For the MPhils and PhD, if I may, quickly, just from the research degrees, what we have in physics, we have, of course, MPhil, PhD in physics, and Again, one in the pipeline, which will be coming out from physics is that in renewable energy technology, an MPhil PhD, pure research there. From the Department of Life Sciences, we have biochemistry, biotechnology, environmental biology, plant science, and zoology. And from the Department of Maths and Stats, we have the MPhil PhD in mathematics and statistics, separate. From the Department of Computing and Information Technology, we have the MPhil PhD in computer science. And that of chemistry, it's the MPhil PhD in chemistry. And those are all of our program offerings at the postgraduate level. I hope that again there I've answered.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you gave our viewers a good understanding, and they can get more information on the website and on some Facebook and in the chat. Our colleagues will post the information on that. Dr. Eudoxie, over to you. I do have a question for you, and it's about the MSc in value addition. Are you able to share with our viewers some insight into this program?
Sure. Thank you so very much, Winnie, and pleasant good night to our viewers. The MSc in value addition actually is one way has recently been revised, and that MSc, among others from the Department of Food Production, seeks to address issues with regards to overall value chain management across our agricultural food systems. So it presents an opportunity for prospective graduate students to get a grounding in understanding value addition, which coming off of what Principal Copeland identified along the lines of innovation and entrepreneurship are very important currently in our agricultural sector. So we will provide students with that foundation in better understanding the food system, a better understanding where entrepreneurial activities and innovative activities can actually make a difference with regards to various products and various services from the agricultural food system. So the MSc, as with many others, is a 2-year full-time taught MSc, and it has tremendous potential for allowing persons in that field already to transition forward. I hope that provides some insight into the program, and I would like to similarly ask prospects to visit the website, and they will find some further information. Over to you, William.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. At this point, I really want to call on our Senior Assistant Registrar for Graduate Studies. We haven't heard from her for the evening, but she is having a wealth of knowledge, and I wonder if she could succinctly encapsulate all the registration information for us as we wind down to the closing time. We still have quite a few questions about application period, the specific dates, the proposal dates, and I wonder if you could roll everything up and give us some final words and some final reminders, some things that prospects should not forget and they should be attuned to.
Thank you, Winnell. Good evening, everyone. Well, Winnell, you gave me a big job there, so let me see if I could answer.
Only because I know you can do it with your eyes closed.
Okay, we know that applications will be closing July 31st for the majority of programs. We also know that there are some programs that have closed already, like the PG Diploma in Education. There are also some programs that will be closing, at least 1 or 2 programs, not a lot, which will be closing by May 31st, some 1 or 2 May 15th. We need to remind student applicants that when you are completing your application, it is an online process, of course. one of the difficulties we've been experiencing with the applicants is that where it's a problem where people are submitting their documents singly, as a separate email each time. There's something called e-courier, which we have introduced for this year. And that actually helped to solve that problem to an extent. We have tried putting on our instructions in such a way that an applicant could understand that when you have completed the application process online, before you submit anything, you need to begin to save the documents. You go into the required document field, you see all the documents you're required to submit. You begin to scan those documents. You keep your confirmation receipt aside. You keep your receipt to show that you've paid your application fee. You put all of this in PDF. All your documents must be in PDF. And then you begin to upload those to one package as one package. It's called e-courier. You put everything in e-courier, and then you're going to submit all of that one time. And that is what we would like applicants to do. Some people have read the instructions carefully, and they have actually done the correct thing. Some have not. So please, I am pleading that you do read the instructions. One or two things I would like to add to is that I need people to know that even if you do not have courses relevant to the program you may wish to apply for, please do not be discouraged. You can still apply for the program you're interested in, because we would still send it along to the department. They can look at your undergraduate degree. They can determine, well, you did very well in your undergraduate degree. And so perhaps we can give you an opportunity to still enter our program. And what they will do in that case, they will identify what is lacking from your undergraduate courses. They can then give you qualifying courses to complete. If you are successful in those qualifying courses, it's normally 1 year. It's normally 1 year to do qualifying courses. And if you are successful in those qualifying courses, then you're given a firm offer to the program. Another thing I want you to know is that even if you have not completed your undergraduate program at this point, but you're in your last year or in your last semester, please know that you can also apply for entry to a postgraduate program within this application period. What will happen is that if the department believes that you are able to be offered acceptance to a program, we would give you a provisional offer. You will get a firm offer once you have been awarded, once you receive the award of your undergraduate degree, and it should be at the lower second class level or GPA equivalent. There are some cases where we would accept a department or faculty would accept someone with a past degree. It's not the norm, but it happens. And when it does happen, the department would also most times accept that student as a qualifying student to see if they can cut it, to see if they can actually pursue a postgraduate program by the way they perform in those courses. Some people ask about the time, how soon they would know whether they've been accepted or not. What I can say, we've already been sending out offers for people who have submitted complete applications. So again, important, your application must be complete when you send it in. Otherwise, it would delay the process, because then we'll have to be writing you and say to you, you have not sent in this document, you have not sent in that one. So it's important that you send complete documents. All right. So we tend to, there are certain things that could delay an offer letter. One could be that we have not yet received a recommendation from the department. In those cases, if you're finding that it's taken a little while, please contact us via our live chat so that we could follow up or let you know what is happening with your application. And that is the one-on-one advising. Somebody asked about one-on-one academic advising. It depends on what kind of advising you want. If it's about a career choice or so, we would encourage you to get in touch with the department, speak with a program coordinator, and they will be able to give you some advice on what you can do with what you have, what you can apply for. I also want to encourage you to have a look at the faculty booklet, have a look at what is offered by the different faculties, because we have a wide range of program offerings. And so I would encourage you to do that before making up your mind. And please reach out to the department if you're not certain about what program you would like to pursue. You may have maybe 4 or 5 options and you really don't know which one. But another thing is that we only process 1 application per person for postgrad. So if you actually submit 2 or 3 or 4 applications, we will get in touch with you to ask you which one is your preference, which one do you want us to consider you for. You will also need to know that if you're not successful at that one, we do allow you to transfer your application to another program. So these are things that I can think of off the top of my head that may be of interest to you and that may help you in making your decision for postgraduate studies. And I do hope that we get lots of applications from you. So thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you very, very much. And that was our Senior Assistant Registrar for Graduate Studies. As I did say before, she has a wealth of information and she was able to capture it, all the dates that are important, all the touch points, all the communication channels, and we will be mirroring that in the chat. So please take note of them. If you have not been able to have your questions answered this evening, I assure you that they can be answered if you use the communication channels suggested by Mrs. Charles Smythe earlier. They have a chat feature on the website. There are email addresses of many of the persons who presented this evening. And so I now call on the campus principal because we are nearing the top of the hour. And I want to ask him to help us wind down this session. Principal, are you with us?
I think so. You caught
Great.
me again. Yeah, I've been listening right through to this presentation. I just wanted to repeat what I said earlier about the need for us to, and Harry said it as well, the need for us to really ramp up our postgraduate education. We are facing a time where the world is going to come out of COVID swinging. Our competitors on the international scale will be looking to reset dominance on the economic landscape. Our Caribbean region is challenged. There will be opportunities abroad for those of you who are well qualified, is true, but we cannot allow our homes to be compromised by the ravages of COVID, by the ravages of whatever disasters may come, and by economic challenges and the like. We need a cadre of well qualified, robust, well-intentioned, capable individuals to lead our nations forward. It is extremely important to our survival with all the challenges that we have. And there are opportunities. We will not get back to a stage where we have 1 or 2 major income earners amidst all of the social challenges that we have and all the ecological challenges we have. We have to spread it out. We have to empower each citizen to earn their way and build an economic system that is much more robust than what existed before now because of its breadth. Many companies, all of them doing well, paying their staff well, earning foreign exchange, will do the job just fine. And you could still have the 1 or 2 big companies. That is the vision for the future. So even as you engage in your programs, I know you'll be concerned about your own livelihood. That is very good, but you have children to come after you. Your descendants will also have to live here. And so it is up to you to play your part to build this space to a level that is even better than it was before, with us in control, you in control. So with that, those are my parting words, Winal. I don't know if you need to say anything else.
Thank you, Principal. And to our viewers this evening, I really want to thank you for being with us. It has been a pleasure to host this session this evening. A recording of it will be available right here on the Facebook page. So feel free to share it with persons who you may know are interested in postgraduate study. In fact, just share it with all your friends and your family. And we will have other sessions in the upcoming days. Next week, we have 2 days of back-to-back sessions focused on financing your degree. One specifically focused on the undergraduate and the other one focused on the postgraduate. So we invite you to look out for them. In the month of May, we will be having faculty-specific open days where you can come and sit with the faculty specific to your interests, and you can hear more about the programs. You will have a lot more time to get into the specifics of your area of interest. So before you leave, I ask that you complete the feedback survey, which will appear shortly in the chat if it hasn't appeared already. And I want to thank you from all of us at the St. Augustine campus. We really look forward to welcoming you in September. Have a good night.